Okay, so moving right along here, I'm here with Mark Davis from Atlanta, who's a specialist really in juxtaposing Summa theory, potentialism theory, with science. And he's written numerous articles that can be found on the website summametaphysica.com, which were copied over from academia.edu. So Mark has written over a dozen interesting pieces, and like all good authors, I learned from his pieces. My compliments to you. Okay, I just wanted to clarify some terms which have come up in earlier tapes today. First two terms are theogony and cosmogony. Theogony is only a question for the religious. Theogony is the origins of the divine. Cosmogony is the broader origins of the universe. So it's not that the religious don't have to address cosmogony, but the secularists do have to address cosmogony. And the bigger term for cosmogony is cosmology. Cosmology is the origins and development of the universe. Okay, so it's a fine difference, but that's the difference. And then the other key term for the religious is theodicy. So again, to reiterate, the classic vulnerabilities of religious doctrine, religious philosophy, are theogony. So what are the origins of the divine? And theodicy, if there is divine who's all-powerful and all-merciful, why is that gross evil? Okay, and then those issues are addressed in Book 1 of the Summa series. Next, the current academics which we referred to, which buttress Summa theory. Again, Summa theory came out, published first in 1988 by Katav Publishing. The first book was God and Evil, which is now known as Summa Metaphysica 1. So that's 1988. Fast forward now to 2006. Seth Lloyd of MIT, Programming the Universe, published by Knopf. Then a book by Thomas Nagel from NYU, which is about 40 blocks south of here, south of my Rockefeller Center office. And his book's Mind and Cosmos, Oxford University Press. And finally, Max Tegmark of MIT, 2014. His book is Our Mathematical Universe by Knopf. The first two books, Lloyd's Programming the Universe and Nagel's Mind and Cosmos, are readable by the layman. The Tegmark book is, it's for the very adventurous scientist or mathematician. So you have to really read reviews on Tegmark to get a handle on Tegmark. Okay. And just focusing on one of the books, Nagel's Mind and Cosmos, Nagel's proposition is that the fact that consciousness exists, he used the term mind, but he means consciousness. Sorry, he should have said what he meant. Is the proof that the universe has a direction. And in my mind, he takes a mini step, like, why stop there? What about sunsets and love and romance, the intricate 9 months of labor, thousands of interrelated issues, phenomena on a planet, but he takes one isolated issue, which can't argue with it at all. And the response by the atheist group is what? Is to trash him. Because he dared challenge the conventional orthodoxy. And once again, you have this random atheist group acting not like a scientific community, but more like a fundamentalist cult, which brooks no dissent, which is not receptive to any discussion or logic. Forgive my frankness, but it's important to understand that because they have single-handedly choked off debate for over 200 years, believe it or not. You live in America, we believe basically a world which has interdependence, interaction of ideas, but via their control of the journals and their ability to block professors' tenure or slow it down around the world, by blocking their appearance in these journals, they've effectively, hitherto, choked off much debate. Okay, so those are the references. Those are some of the terms. Now, the question has been raised. How can we address four interrelated terms? One is Q4P, which is our quest for potential, theorized dynamic. Then the concept of awareness, consciousness, and emotion. Now, these are all interrelated, meaning we all know that awareness, consciousness, and emotion are all interrelated. We don't really know where one starts and the next one ends. And here we go. It could just be that that's part of what it's all about, that the creation of the universe was for the purpose of developing, building out awareness, consciousness, and emotion. We view these as soft subjects, but it could be these are major objectives of quest for potential. We don't know, and it's hard to hierarchize what the priorities are, and I don't try. And why should we try? Let's just say it's in the mix, and frankly, the priorities might change of Q4P, of quest for potential. Now, tracking back one more time, because we're going to find ourselves continuously segueing to deal with issues that come up. If I were listening to this tape, I might say, okay, David Birnbaum, so you're saying if no Q4P, no universe, that quest for potential emerges from pure potential, but tell us more. Give us something we can hang our hats on. So I do discuss this in the book. Again, it's hypothesis. Okay, my hypothesis is that at the beginning, there was what I call zero. But we don't know what zero exactly is. Nor do mathematicians know exactly what zero is even today. And I'm not saying it's numeric zero. I'm just calling it zero, primordial zero. And at some point, how do you break out of zero? Zero had to break into minuses and pluses. And here we go, good and evil, dark and light, male and female, etc., etc. And by breaking in two, by splitting in two, it got the ball rolling. Again, I wasn't there. My mother might think that I was there, but I was not present at creation. But that's sort of the best I can do. And it does dovetail with, frankly, some Eastern philosophers and, frankly, some Jewish philosophers. The beginning was zero, and zero split. And one can also say, taking it a step further, that part of the cosmic drive is to eventually reunite minuses and pluses, ergo weddings, ergo marriage. On some level, it's a unification of the original split. That's getting a little poetic, but I deal in metaphysics. That's my stock and trade, and it's in the mix. Now, we discussed in the prior tape, I juxtaposed how, when we discussed what potential is, why potential is important, a family with two sons, one set on his own and one kept under the parental care his whole life, 10 years out, they would be radically different. Now, remember that there was a similar discussion in the first book of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the Garden of Eden saga. What was the Garden of Eden saga? A choice between the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. But one could say the tree of life is a tree of dependence. The tree of knowledge is a tree of potential. And all the parallels work exactly. That man had a choice of dependence or potential. And the cosmic order inevitably, inexorably, took the root of potential. Okay. Now, we promised you to talk about the inductive proof of potentialism theory. Now, potentialism theory is a framing belief, just like classical religious doctrine is a framing belief. Framing beliefs cannot be proved directly because you can't put the whole cosmic order under a microscope. And we were not present. We don't have the CNN video of creation. Okay, unfortunately. We can prove framing beliefs only inductively. What does that mean? All the data points have to point to it, and you cannot find one single exception. If you find one single exception, it breaks down. All you need is one. You can have 1,000,000 trillion data points. If there's one exception, it breaks down. It's sort of like proving a murder by circumstantial evidence. You can convict in many jurisdictions by circumstantial evidence, by data points. But if you have one contradictory piece of evidence, you cannot hang the guy, typically. The two are very similar. You can prove something inductively. All the data points must vector towards it. Data points mean all the data, dynamics, accepted theory, accepted scientific theory, everything we know must point in that direction, or must corroborate it, or must not conflict with it. And you cannot find one contradictory piece of evidence. Now, let's say that random atheists say they have a framing theory, but we've shown how it breaks down. How did we get there? Why is there anything at all? How did all these 60-plus constants be precisely measured? You have many, many contradictions to randomist atheism theory. And what about a framing theory? Okay, God created the universe. Well, where did this God come from? I haven't seen this God. These are serious challenges to that being a standalone framing theory. Yes, I finesse it in book one, but it has to be finessed. On face value, it does not withstand, with all due respect, and I brought up my kids modern Orthodox Jewish, it does not withstand inductive challenge because it has several vulnerabilities. The vulnerabilities can be finessed, but we prefer a framing theory which does not have to be finessed. Once you have the asterisks or finessed, you're not quite there. That's the key point. We don't like the asterisks of the theory. We don't like the buts. We don't want to hear about exceptions. We want a clean deal, a pure play. Lean and mean. Occam's razor, simple as you can get. Now, Q4P, potential theory, is a simple theory, but turbocharged infinitely. Potential drives the universe, but it's really potential to the infinite magnitude. Potential within potential within potential. We have a simple but infinitely powerful theory, but it's theory. Yes, I will not say on tape that I believe it fully 100%, but I believe it. Basically, it certainly trumps the existing theories, and most probably it's in the zone, or in other words, it's in the throne room. We're there. It has to be finessed. It's beyond my capability to finesse it much further than I do in the 3 books.